It occurs when an employee ceases to be a member of the organization. Termination of employment or service broadly signifies separation of the employee from that employer, from the organization. The most simple way of getting away from an organization when you feel that I cannot deliver service anymore is called as quit. So when your organization has to grow competitive enough, that means the people should be highly competent enough to take it forward. Good morning and welcome to the first session in Unit 5, 4th semester BBA, Human Resource Management, where we're going to speak about separation process. Until now, we were talking about HR as the most biggest binding process of the organization. Whenever a person joins an organization, it's a time to celebrate. It's a time to rejoice because you've got a new job. But now we're going to talk about a process where an employee gets separated from the organization. Might be a very solemn situation, but nevertheless, recruitment and retention or attrition is a part of the organization. You make people join the organization and then there are people who also leave the organization. It's quite a common part of the organization. So let's try to understand what this employee separation is all about. It occurs when an employee ceases to be a member of the organization. Termination of employment or service broadly signifies separation of the employee from that employer, from the organization. Now, whenever we talk about this word called as resignation, resign, which means to say that that particular employee doesn't find any interest in the organization that he is serving and he started looking out for better opportunities. So that's why he is resigning the current organization and moving further. Now, what are the ways? The first and the most easiest way is that he quits. The second one is voluntary retirements. The most simple way of getting away from an organization when you feel that I cannot deliver service anymore is called as quit. I quit the organization. Very simple. I just put the paper down and I say that that's it. That's the end of the day. But then when you go back and you think about it, there might be many reasons. But primarily for the organization, moment an employee quits, he's just leaving the organization. The second one is called as voluntary retirement. So what do you mean by that voluntary retirements? Voluntary retirements means to say that a person retires before the actual age of retirement. So let's say the actual age is 60, but I take a voluntary retirement at the age of 50 itself. So I voluntarily declare myself that I don't want to be an active member of the organization. Perfectly okay. So this is the way how you quit from the organization. Involuntary. Now this is something where resistance comes into picture. This is something where the force of separating the employee from the organization comes into picture. What is it? It's called as mandatory retirement, discharge or dismissal or termination. We're now going to talk about layoff and downsizing, retrenchment, suspension. Mandatory retirement, which means to say that, yes, you have come to that age, now you have to. There's no other choice. So once you attain the age of 60, can I continue for 61? The answer is no. So you have to retire. Mandatory retirement comes into picture. Discharge, dismissal, termination, all bad words in terms of very sad words, I would say, because those words sound a negative atmosphere in the organization, but nevertheless, the organization puts the employees out because they are not up to the mark. Layoff and downsizing, when the organization is in deep trouble, no profits, it's going under loss, and there's a sudden problem, then yes, automatically layoff and downsizing comes into picture. Now let's talk about retrenchment. Again, there are times when the organization decides to make the entire department or a particular one in a linear manner altogether. So we call it as retrenchment. Then we talk about suspension. When people are suspended on a particular basis, on a particular reason altogether, so you would be sent out of the service. So all these things are actually the methods of separating the person from the organization. A layoff is a temporary factor for an employee from his employment because at any instance, the organization is not actually going to look into the consequence. It just wants to lay off because they feel that at that particular point of time, I cannot afford paying salary to the employees. I cannot afford maintaining the employees, so I have to lay him off. So that comes with a lot of factors in mind, and without any prejudice to the former factor. A layoff may be for a definite period on the expiry on which the employee will be recalled by the employer. So there might be a time where I can say that I lay you off for 2 months or 3 months, then once that time period is over, I can automatically take you back. So this is kind of a temporary setback that happens in the organization, and you might feel at that point of time that I am jobless, that particular employee is being put to a difficult situation or time altogether. But nevertheless, yes, that is needed. Why? Because you understand that the employer is actually giving you a temporary setback, is relieving you from duty, but definitely after the time is over, he can be called back. Retrenchment is a permanent termination of an employee's services due to economic reasons. Replacement of labor by machines. We are talking about it in big time today. Why? Because with AI coming into picture, which means to say that there might be situations where the human beings are replaced by the robots. So that could be probably a very strong reason where I am not taking people into the organization. I'm throwing people out because now I have the machines that can replace, that can do the work of the human beings. Now, closure of a department because a lack of demand altogether. There might be many situations where the company's products are not getting appreciated. So there's no point in manufacturing that product. The demand has completely come down. So let us not be a part of the system anymore. So what we do is that we close that department. We send all the employees out permanently. The entire plant or the company gets closed. Yes, that's always possible when the entire thing goes for a bankrupt. The employees are definitely affected. And then, the organization sends out the people. Then we have when surplus staffs comes into picture, when you have more than the necessity. You need to have 100 employees, but if you have 150 instead, then what happens? You need to relieve those 50 people out because they are a cost to the company. That's exactly how it works. It should be noted that termination of services on disciplinary ground, illness, retirement, winding up of business does not constitute retrenchment. So this is very, very important. On a disciplinary action, if you're going to send out somebody, that's not retrenchment. Due to some illness or retirement, again, it is not called as the termination factor. It's not retrenchment. Not winding up of a business does not constitute. So all these things do not come into picture at all. They are all a part of the scenario where you need to understand that these things can cause harm, can cause a complete different atmosphere in the organization. Exit interview, which is very, very crucial today. Now, why is exit interview first of all conducted? Let's have a look into it, because it is done in order to understand the reasons for leaving. When you join the company, you do attend an interview called as HR interview. And at that point of time, you come up with answers, you come up with your opinions, you come up with ideas as why you want to be a part of the organization. The same thing, if I'm going to put it on the reverse order, is the exit interview, where you are going to give a reason to the company, why am I leaving this organization? So if it could be a negative feedback on management, you didn't like the work culture, the politics is too much, I've been put on the backbench completely, I'm not being able to be given opportunities, all those things can come here. And identifying company strengths and weakness also is a part of the exit interview, which means to say that sometimes you might feel that through an exit interview, I can understand the SWOT analysis about the people. What is the strength of the company? Why people are sticking around? What is the weakness of the company? That also comes into picture. Gather insights to improve retention and brand the employer brand. So sometimes you might feel that why people are working for me, why people are not working for me can be understood once you understand this entire picture. So it's very, very important that you understand why people are sticking around. Ensure a smooth transition and positive final impression matters a lot, because when an employee leaves an organization, he should leave with a good note. He should leave with good memories, not with a hatredness, not with the factor that I had something bad to share with you. So let's not even think about it. Let's not even go into it, because that will definitely affect your mindset. The significance of human resource management, that's where we are now coming into the picture. Why? Because we are now going to talk about the futuristic HRM that's going to come in place. So let me start this entire thing by going back to the Vedic ages, coming back to our most sacred holy book called as the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna not only makes Arjuna spiritually enlightened, but also teaches him the art of self-management, anger management, stress, conflict, transformational leadership, motivation, goal setting, and other aspects. Are all these things today needed for the HRM? The answer is an absolute yes. Why? Because whatever Lord Krishna had already spoken about, the management aspects through the Bhagavad Gita, is what we are employing today, or what we are applying today to the modern HRM. So let us understand this factor very clearly, that today we have all got into this factor. Today we have all got into the ideology of understanding how a curriculum needs to be set, how the ideology of HR needs to be taken forward. So first thing is that all of us know that it's going to provide a significant support and to the advice to the line management. What is the futuristic example of HR? HR's primary ideology is to understand the management completely. HR's ideology is to first make people understand that yes, we need to attract, we need to preserve, and we need to grow with people. We are supposed to make people competitively advantageous for us, and we are not supposed to throw people as and when we want. Make the best utilization of people. People are the biggest asset of the organization. So when your organization has to grow competitive enough, that means the people should be highly competent enough to take it forward. So the first job of HR is to make business and people aligned together and understand that the competition lies in terms of taking the organization together with the people, for the people, and by the people. Now, let's go ahead. In terms of industries in India, generally have the human resource function and will open new avenues in future. Why? With the AI coming into picture and probably the more of technology infusion happening in terms of the industries, the HRM function itself will have a great shift in the future. So what kind of shift are we looking into? First one, let's talk about the role of HR managers, starting from the policies and motivation. The policies of the organization will be more towards openness, equity, consensus, and trust. These are the words which I want you to learn in HR. Why? Because whenever I talk about the word called trust, openness, these are the most important thing for an HR manager. You stick to your words to your employees, make them understand why you are a part of the organization. You make them understand very clearly that you've not been selected by chance, but you have selected this organization by choice. You need to understand that we are open enough to accommodate your ideas. We are open enough to accommodate your innovative thoughts. We are here to make you feel equal among all. There is no discrimination on caste, creed, gender, race, religion, sex, anything. We are an organization who looks into a human being as a potential resource for growth. And that's where HR becomes the biggest strength of the organization. Followed by which motivation, create conditions from which people will be ready to work with enthusiasm. The work has to be done based on the enthusiasm. The work has to come from you. The enthusiasm has to build inner from your side. It has to be an internal motivation rather than an external push. So I always say that the job of the HR is to keep the people motivated, keep them on the edge, which means to say that people should be ready to take up that job, deliver it to the best level possible. And that's how HR becomes even more interesting. Followed by which relations. The fair treatment to people, redresses of grievances would pave way for a healthy workplace relation. Everybody in life has got complaints. And whenever we go to the HR, we always think that because there is a complaint, I go to the HR. HR is not something as my friend, but HR is a person who listens to my complaints. But if that be the case, HR's primary job is that, am I able to solve your complaints? Can I make an organization which is complaint-free, where there's no troubles at all? If that can be the answer to the question, then the workplace relationship is at the peak. You can really see that going further. Change agent. Prepare workers to accept technological changes by clarifying the doubts. Yes, that's very, very important. Quality conscious, very, very important. Why? Because commitment to quality will make the organization stronger day by day. Ensuring people in all aspects of personal administration that you will see that people are coming together. People are building that bond. And quality means what you have promised to the customer that you will deliver on time. So automatically everybody will get aligned to that customer ratio in mind. As a strategic partner, I always say that HR is the biggest partner in the organization. Why? Because they are the people who understand the viability, ability to contribute, and they are the people who carry forward the organization right from the inception till the end. So which means to say that these are the people who are needed for the organization growth. If you don't understand them, if you don't build that HR, the competency map completely starts falling down and there might be an organization-wide confusion. So HR is not a sidelined function. It is the strategic function that puts the organization on the roadmap to success. The more you build competency among the people, the more you give people opportunities to develop, to explore, and to create new products for the organization. That's how you see HR taking the center stage and moving the organization to the next level. So always HR is the biggest partner for growth and success. Followed by which the impact of technology on HRM. Now, with the presence of AI, with the presence of data science and other improved communications coming into picture, HR is becoming even more challenging. HR is becoming an institution which has got a lot of changes to be imbibed. The way how you communicate, the way how you address the problem, the way how you take things forward, all those things have become really challenging for the organization. So somewhere down the lane, we have to address these changes, we have to accept these changes, we have to grow with it, and we have to make the place even more competitive. You should be able to create an open communication policy through which things are implemented, they're taken forward, and they're believed to be in the best half. So with these factors, organization will definitely improve on the efficiency, reduce on the cost, and also create a strategic goal process. With this, I come to the end of today's session. I hope and believe that all the facts and figures spoken here would be of a great advantage and of great value to you, both in terms of theory as well as in the practical walk of life. In the upcoming session, we are going to speak about the futuristic trends and how these trends are getting into the impact of HRM. But until then, stay tuned, stay blessed. You have a great day ahead. And thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.